The human brain is an extraordinary organ, shaped by millions of years of evolution to survive in an environment of scarcity, danger, and slow-moving change. However, the world around us has undergone a rapid transformation in just the last few hundred years, with industrialization, technological advancements, and an explosion of information that our ancestors could never have imagined. While civilization has given us incredible comforts, it has also introduced a new kind of burden, chronic stress. Our brains, designed for a world of occasional, short-lived dangers, now face a never-ending flood of stimuli, deadlines, notifications, and social comparisons. This unnatural pace of life has led to an epidemic of anxiety, depression, and burnout. Paradoxically, in our attempt to relieve stress, we often fall into habits that reinforce it: cheap dopamine hits, excessive screen time, substance abuse, and other forms of instant gratification. This article explores the vicious cycle of modern stress and stress relief, backed by historical data and scientific research, and proposes practical solutions to break free from this self-perpetuating loop. For over 99% of human history, life was relatively slow-paced. Our ancestors lived in small groups, had limited access to information, and their primary stressors were immediate survival threats. In contrast, the last 250 years since the Industrial Revolution have brought an unprecedented acceleration of technological and social change. The pace of life has increased drastically. Modern humans process more information in a single day than a medieval peasant would in their entire lifetime. According to the American Psychological Association, 77% of Americans regularly experience physical symptoms due to stress, and 73% report stress-related psychological symptoms. The World Health Organization identifies stress as a leading contributor to heart disease, obesity, diabetes, depression, and anxiety disorders. A study published in JAMA Psychiatry in 2021 found that over 30% of adults worldwide experience chronic stress or anxiety disorders. Modern life is full of instant gratification, convenience at the cost of long-term well-being. Many of our coping mechanisms for stress actually worsen the problem, creating a cycle of dependency and mental exhaustion. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical, responsible for motivation, pleasure, and learning. In a natural environment, dopamine is released in response to real accomplishments, hunting, social bonding, solving problems. But in today's world, we can hijack this system with artificial dopamine triggers. Ultra-processed food, high sugar, and high-fat foods trigger pleasure centers, leading to emotional eating and metabolic disorders. Video games and pornography short-term pleasure at the cost of real-world engagement and productivity. The global alcohol industry is worth over $1.5 trillion, fueled largely by the use of alcohol as a stress reliever. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, over 20 million people in the United States suffer from substance abuse disorders, many of them using drugs as an escape from stress. Prescription drugs like benzodiazepines, such as Xanax and Valium, are widely misused to suppress anxiety. However, they create dependency and withdrawal-related stress. Hustle culture glorifies overwork, yet studies show working more than 55 hours per week increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. Many people use work as an escape, but chronic stress lowers productivity and cognitive function, creating a loop of exhaustion and underperformance. If the modern world is designed to keep us trapped in stress, how do we break free? Here are practical strategies backed by research. Dopamine fasting. Take regular breaks from artificial dopamine triggers like social media, junk food, and video games, and focus on real-world achievements. Deliberate discomfort. Engage in activities that require effort but bring long-term satisfaction, such as exercise, learning, and creating art. Nature exposure. Studies show that spending just 20 minutes in nature significantly lowers cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And, it's also beneficial to limit social media use to less than 30 minutes per day. Studies show this greatly reduces anxiety and depression. Reduce processed food intake and replace it with whole foods that support brain function. Engage in mindful breathing and meditation, practices proven to lower stress levels. Exercise regularly. Just 30 minutes of exercise per day reduces the risk of depression by 30%. Sleep hygiene. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Lack of sleep increases cortisol levels and weakens cognitive function. Deep work and focus. Reduce multitasking and practice focused work sessions to increase productivity while lowering stress. Understand that productivity does not equal self-worth. Burnout is counterproductive. Incorporate real breaks into your schedule. Short walks, deep breathing, and tech-free downtime. Learn to say no. Most stress comes from taking on too much responsibility. The modern world is designed to overstimulate and exhaust us, feeding a self-destructive cycle of stress and artificial relief. But by recognizing this trap, we can take intentional steps to break free. The key to a healthier, happier life isn't found in instant gratification, but in slowing down, engaging in meaningful activities, and prioritizing real well-being over short-term pleasure. By making these shifts, we can reclaim control over our brains, reduce stress, and build a life that is both sustainable and fulfilling.